help us understand what was happening last night. When you got there, what did you see? What did you hear?
When I got to the scene I went to was where the BMW crashed over the curb into another vehicle, and there was a body bag down in front of it, draped, in the yellow body bag, and officers had an array of yellow tape out there and several other intersections. There must have been 30 different police, sheriff, and university police units there, and there were college students in shock at the scene, at what they had seen there, and also on the other streets. As you say, there were 9 different crime scenes. This vehicle was in motion on a number of blocks in this densely populated college town. There's 20,000 students in a half-square-mile area there, and the vehicle was not speeding through. It wasn't a speeding drive-by. We are told by eyewitnesses it was a slow-rolling drive-by, and at times there's at least one or more witnesses that believe the driver was trying to engage conversation with who might be the eventual victims. And in one instance, there was a bike down and 2 deceased people there, and there was a heroic effort in front of a 7-Eleven convenience store in Isla Vista, where a girl got a bullet in her leg, and the employees came out of 7-Eleven and grabbed her and dragged her back in, and others from the street came in and sought shelter. I mean, that's absolutely heroic with gunshots going on. And then we're told right around that same time there was an engaged gun battle between the driver and the sheriff's deputies there, and on another block, a rolling gun battle was taking place there, and that was just unbelievable for people to see.
Yeah, there's a witness who told one of your reporters there at KEYT that it resembled an old Western shootout. John, for people who don't live in this town, give us an idea of how large of an area we're talking, how far apart are these 9 crime scenes spread?
They're probably spread over about 4 blocks, 4 small community blocks. This is a college community with a lot of dorms and sorority and fraternity houses, and houses converted into rentals, and it's right adjacent to UC Santa Barbara. So they're almost one and the same, but they are not jointly owned. So they're very close to the campus, densely populated. On a Friday night, everyone's out walking the streets, going to house, going to parties, and some of the community college students who are in the area live out there as well, and they had their graduation yesterday, so they were especially celebrating when all this horrific violence took place.
John, the LA Times reporting that the suspect has been preliminarily ID'd, but that they're not releasing that information until they make that exact, distinct, positive identification. What do you know about the suspect?
We believe the suspect's a young male. They have not released his name, but they are familiar with some videos and some writings that have been referenced by Sheriff Bill Brown, who was very careful not to jump the gun on this.
John, by the way,
all together.
John, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I'm being told we just want to make sure, as I said, we know that there's a preliminary ID. We just want to make sure you do not publicly say his name because it has not been positively ID'd. I'm sorry I interrupted you with that. We just wanted to make sure we didn't get some information out there that is not yet to be released. But please go ahead and tell us what else you know about him.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with that because we don't want to jump the gun on this, and the sheriff certainly doesn't want to do that. We want to make sure that's accurate. But
sure.
He did reference publicly that there was a video and written evidence that they're looking at, and they are familiar with maybe that this was a pre-planned attack by what he described as a madman. But it is believed to be a young male that was behind all this. And currently we believe that there is only one gunman involved here. There was some eyewitness accounts that possibly there might have been more than one, but that, of course, sometimes happens in these kinds of confusing and horrific situations.
Hey, John, we know that, again, 7 people dead, including the suspect, the alleged shooter here. Also 7 people in hospitals. Any update on those 7 injured?
My understanding is that they've are not all gunshot victims. That one was a bicyclist that was hit in this in this driving gun battle by the vehicle and has a massive head trauma. And they were calling on the scanners, of which I was carrying one personally and listening and racing to the scene for multiple ambulances and multiple rescue units to get to the victims and trying to sort out who had what. But among the victims, I'm very familiar with one that had what they call a through-and-through gunshot wound to the leg. One to the arm, another one got shot in the back, and then the bicycle victim that had the massive head injury as well. So I'm familiar with those 4 injuries. I am not updated on their conditions or the type of treatment they've had at Santa Barbara's Cottage Hospital.
Okay, and we know that they're holding their identities as well.
Yes.
As well as the identities of those who have died until next of kin, obviously.